So we're going to talk about faith. I'll start you with a question. How do we find our faith?
How do we find our faith? Okay, let me put it in context for you. I think it's time for me to introduce a little bit about me. What do you think?
Go for it.
Yeah. You see, I've spent a lifetime pursuing these subjects of philosophy, personal transformation. In the East, more so an incredible amount of study in this truth called enlightenment, awakening, personal growth. And first of all, we must question, is there such a thing? Right? We must question, is there such a thing? And you have asked a question, a very beautiful question about faith today. I want first, before we enter the question, is faith a sight or is it a blindness? If somebody say, I have faith, God has a plan for me. Do you hear what you're saying? I'm not fighting you. You may believe that existence has a plan for you. Existence has a plan for you, I can believe. But first of all, we must question, is just a word? So before we enter the subject of faith, we must understand it can be a deluding thing. It can be something like you create in your mind and you live by that. Like many people go to Hollywood. I've been to LA many times. Many people have faith they're going to be movie stars and they don't end up. They end up being waitresses. They end up being, I'm not saying anything wrong with that. So before we enter the subject of faith, I want to ask, there is a danger this word represents self-delusion. Having said that, right, you want to ask me the question for your audience. What is faith? Is that what you're asking?
How do we find our faith?
How do we find our faith? Well, it opens up a lot of questions. I want us to first suspend all our notion. Faith appears to be, I believe, I'm going to be adamant. So we have to enter this by saying, if there is any truth to faith, it's a discovery. It's a discovery. Like if somebody says, I have faith in me, they are saying, I have discovered something about me that I think in my lifetime it will come true. Faith right now is used as blindly believing something. Have faith, believe, you can make it. You hear that when I was growing up, it's all over, motivation, self-belief. All I've seen is it has set up people to have psychotic episodes. I've seen it set up people for depression. So F-A-I-T-H, not F-A-T, F-A-I-T-H, faith. I'm asking, could it be a discovery, a sight about me? Could it be faith? So could my faith be what I actually have discovered about me? Not assume, not want to believe, not been persuaded. Like almost everybody at one point have faith. I'm going to make it. I remember, if I illustrate the story, when I was a young man, maybe I had 30 friends. We were in a small town. Out of the 30 people, in the name of making it in the world, I'm talking about making money, being less than two hours ever broke free. The rest got stuck. But we all started together, right? Less than two. I have friends who died of drug overdose. I have had fellows who I grew up with died of alcoholism, ended up in prison. But we all started, you must see when we were 10 years old, when 15 years old, we were playing football or we were going swimming, we all were like, yeah. But two. So I'm putting the statistics down. Then when I became a young man, I came to the city, I started working. I probably had 100 colleagues, 100 friends together. How many made it? So I don't mean to depress you, but I'm trying to put the context down. Out of that 100 people, maybe less than 5, and this I'm only referring financially. I'm only referring in regards to the world. We're not talking about successful marriage or family or fulfillment. So faith has been abused as a means of self-delusion, But I'm saying what faith is, I discovered something about me. During my process, I found out something about me. I have faith. So faith could be, is faith the recognition of you by you? And in order to recognize you, you must put down the assumption. I used to have a sticker up my wall. I think that saved my life. It says, if 100 people, and this is my younger days when you're trying to be a millionaire and all that, out of 100 people pursuing wealth, one will become rich. They say out of 100. And two people will be financially independent, and 5 will be relatively okay. So they're talking about 8 people being financially okay. If I'm not messing the statistic, 98 out of the 100 will be in trouble. 92, sorry. That is the fact, right? Are we saying all these people fail because they didn't have faith? Belief is cheap. Somebody say, I believe I'm going to start a business. Have you discovered that you have the quality to run a business? This is a very difficult, I don't want to mislead. Like when I'm speaking, I feel like I'm not speaking to very advanced scholars, which I normally am working with people who have studied.
Don't say that. How do you know?
Okay, I don't know. So, but I'm also speaking to people who are beginning. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, people who are beginning. So I'm very cautious. That's why I've never put myself out there too much. So I want to speak almost, if there is an advanced student out there, know that I'm speaking to the general public who are beginning to get informed. The danger is when you are sold an idea of delusion in the name of faith. Okay?
Okay, can I ask you something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So there's this woman, her name is Cynthia Brown. She's quite famous online. And so she tells this story about how she was very sick her whole life. She thought she was going to die. Her mother died young. She thought she was going to die. So one day she decided she just was going to pray. She prayed to God and she told God, I will be in service of you from this point forward. I will I just want to get better. I just want to live. From then, she's like, so whatever you tell me to do, I will do. So she suddenly decided she's going to be vegan. She had this kind of idea. She became vegan. She healed herself. Then she kind of had this she felt like God is speaking to her, telling her to do short videos. She's like, I want to be an actress. I want to do long form. She did it. She's so famous now from TikTok. And she puts that to her faith. She's very Christian faith. But she said that how she reconciled it is that the voice inside her head, she used it as the voice of God. Her intuition is the voice of God, and then she can trust it. But and so it worked out for her in that sense, believing in faith. But was she believing in herself?
Probably. I cannot comment on her. No? She says she's listening to her voice within. But whatever it is, it appears to work for her. It pulled her out. But I will give this, Cynthia, right? Her name?
Cynthia Brown.
Cynthia Brown. Good for you, Cynthia.
Sorry, Tabitha Brown. Tabitha Brown.
Tabitha Brown. Tabitha Brown. Okay, good for you, Tabitha Brown. Good for you. But it has... Maybe she discovered something about herself. When she's instructed, her best of her come up. Maybe she cannot do what she wants to do. That's what I'm hearing. If she's instructed, she's very good. She has discovered she has a disciple quality. And that worked for her. So her faith, even though came through a voice, came through an inspiration, wonderful. But to me, what I'm reading is she discovered that she's a very good servant to something more. Maybe that's a secret. That's her faith. When I serve something more than me, my life works out. It's a discovery. I'm using this word very deliberately. So your faith, I go into this subject. Your faith is what have you discovered about you? My faith in me, if you ask me, I'm relentless. I don't quit. I knew this from young. I don't get started. I get started, I will not quit. I discovered that about me. So I don't start easy. But when I start, I stick to something. I pay attention. And I can rely on that. And that discovery about me, being true to me, has determined the outcome of my life. So can I say that is my faith? You see, I'm worried about when you say faith, you're placing your trust on something more than you. I am saying faith is you. Faith is in you knowing you. And when you know you, you can bank on you. You see, there are people I've known in Hollywood. Maybe I can talk about Serinda. Is that okay? Yeah. student. She's a beautiful, beautiful girl. I met her when she was very young. One thing, I looked at that girl and I said, go to Hollywood, go. She pursued, she's doing very well. You know what is her faith? This girl doesn't budge, She's relentless. She goes through all her ups and downs, I watch. And I have faith in that. And I'm saying that is her faith. So can I say, FAITH is discovery. The discovery of you and living through to you is your FATE. Your faith in knowing what is here determines your faith. Right? What is it about you have discovered? Remember, when I was talking about all my friends and all the people I was with many, many, many years ago, they all believed. They all believed in an idea. They believed in something. But the belief was not born out of a discovery. And I must also caution this. This I'm talking to the general public here. Be very careful. You will be lured in. I know there are people in India, people doing all kinds of things, thinking they're going to be enlightened, they're going to become some spiritual person. This is an idea sold to abuse you, to mislead you. Faith, FAITH. What is it about you you discovered you will bank everything on? I would bank everything on me when I decide, not I do for it. When I decide I'm going to do something, I will bank on me. I will gamble on me because I will give everything I got. I will not cut corners. I will work relentlessly. My faith. So the real faith, like the lady's name again, what's her name?
Tabitha Brown.
Tabitha Brown. Tabitha Brown? Sorry, I'll go check you out. I think she discovered her faith in herself. Maybe through Jesus. It doesn't matter. Maybe through God, through Lord, through flow. These are the way she came to discover her. Looks like whenever something more speaks to her, she becomes relentless.
But I think what always stuck with me about her story is that how she put that, like, that her intuition, she struggled to trust herself, so she believed that the intuition was God speaking to her.
Very good. Then you said the word. Maybe we cannot speak on her behalf. We're just using this as an example, Tabitha. It's like she had a difficulty in trusting herself. When she had a means to trust herself, she became relentless. Watch. So now again, what is faith? What is it about you you know that you will bank everything on? What is it about you that you know you'll bank everything on? You must understand that this world won't believe you until you actualize. When I was young, if they would have thought I'm this or whatever that I'm doing, I've written so many books, or I've done so many things in my life, people wouldn't believe it. They said, he? No, but I knew me. They didn't know me. And the people who knew me trusted. There were people until today will say, I'm not surprised you did it. Even then you had it, they said. I'm like, you saw that? So what is faith? This is so beautiful. If you are not misled, right? For a lot of people, you know what is, I go in another direction. For a lot of people, what faith is, it's hoping, It's this clip I've seen in the Instagram about a guy singing Billie Jean. He had no business singing, at least according to me. I hope he forgives me. He was so bad. But he actually went for the audition and was doing it. What is that? He didn't know him. Didn't you get an input? You probably need some singing lesson. He was operating from a false belief. And he thought it was my faith. I have faith, I'll be a singer. I said, no, sir, you haven't examined the fact. Most people say they have faith in something. It is a way to delude themselves, avoiding seeing the facts that is there. I have no business singing. My father could sing. I had no business singing. If I sing, I clear the audience. So I don't have faith that I will be a great singer. Somebody will say, if you believe, you will do it. Really? Really?
So you're saying belief can only take you so far?
Yeah, but a belief born out of self-discovery. You see, I don't want to use me as an example. When I was a kid, I was in martial art and I was fighting. I had one thing. Now, my skill was not the best. I was not the most poised guy. I didn't have the finesse. But I had one thing, you got to knock me out coal for me to stop. If I'm in the ring, I'm coming. I'm coming. And my teachers used to see that and said, you are something, aren't you? You are relentless. I said, no, I decided to do. I'm in the tournament. I'm fighting. I'll go. My one eye shut. It doesn't matter. I keep going. It's not I did it. I discovered that as me. You follow what I'm saying? And then I enhanced it. I discovered that I have this ability. Oh my God. Like if I get in, I'm going to slug away. I'm going to go. I am not saying you should have this quality. There are people who I've taught before. I say, quit martial art, take up piano. They were born with that tendency again, and this looks like I'm condemning. You can develop it if you want to. But I'm saying, what did you discover? See, the problem is you have so much ability, but you are trying to be better. Like somebody went to be an actor and end up being a director. He thought he will be an actor. Suddenly he discovered, oh my God, I'm a better director, I'm a better writer.
But I guess the process of being in front of the camera showed him that, look, maybe from this, I can actually be behind.
Yeah. You see, it's a question of discovery. What did you discover about you? Go ask people who know you. If you have mother, father, uncle, brother, and if they are not prejudiced, tell them, what do you see? What do you see? Like this, your grandfather, my father, offered me a few things. One of the things he offered is, he looked at me and he cannot take if I lose. The other kids, okay. For me, he looked at me and said, come on. What are you doing? He somehow saw that relentlessness in me. Even when I couldn't see it. When I discovered that relentlessness, I discovered me, I have faith.
Okay. Is there a point when I think the notion of faith as we know it, right? Can it be paralyzing to people?
All the time, but here.
And then how do you go past that paralysis?
Paralyzing, you know why? You are afraid to discover you are that. Again, and let me not stop you. I want you to venture too. I want you to go beyond your comfort zone. Sometimes you can say, no, that is not for me. You have no right to say that until you put yourself in that place. Again, faith is also the byproduct of willing to discover what is here. You don't know you yet. You don't know you yet. This has happened with your mother, I always thought I was a good speaker. This is how I do it. And one day, for some reason, I was writing something and I sent it. Your mother was editing it. And one day she looked at me and I think I was turning 40 and she said, do you know you're a better writer than speaker? I said, what? My whole life I thought I was a speaker. I'm like, what? And your mother is a reader. She reads. So she knows what she's talking about. I'm like, for the first time, I'm like, what? She says, right. I rather read your writing and listen to you, but I think just because for other reasons. I didn't know I could write. I discovered it. Now I have such faith in my own writing. You understand? I will bank on me writing. If your mother is editing, so that's how I bank on it. But so hang on. I'm very afraid I might mislead you here a little bit. I've talked about false faith, right? I talk about the courage to have faith. That means the courage to discover you. You get what I'm saying? You got to try until something about you is revealed. You are a discovery. You cannot know you. If you go to a buffet line, how do you know which food you like unless you have tasted it? If you haven't tasted it, then suddenly you say, oh my God. And sometimes you have to try it a few times. The first time you might be prejudiced. Then you go, my God, I like French food, or I like Italian food, or oh my God. I was like, wow. It's like what you did to me. This is a story, a beautiful story. They must have been like 8, 9 years old or something. They wanted to go eat some Western food. And that time I only eat Indian food. You remember, you and your sister were there and we ordered the food and they were eating. So I was not interested in it. I was trying something. And suddenly, very kindly, she told her mother, what? No, it is so sad. Appa doesn't like good food. I'm like, what? You were innocently, do you remember?
No.
You said it. No, you said, I'm so sad Appa doesn't like good food. I'm like, what? And I said, okay, I'm being prejudiced here. Then from that day, I started experimenting. I never thought I'll eat any other food than Indian or Asian food. Now I am
I'm laughing so much I'm crying.
No, I love Western food. I at least one meal I want to have Western food. But that was the slap, the jab I needed to jolt me out, to say, hey, what am I doing? I'm not allowing myself to discover, right? Again, I'm very afraid that this I might misrepresent.
But what about, so my question for you is about the people who are like, I can't sing, but I have faith I want to be a singer. I have faith I'm going to
Give
be
it a
a
try.
singer.
Give it a try. But be honest. Don't be deluded. Discover. I'm saying faith is the byproduct of self-discovery. When you discover you have faith. Then you don't need anybody to believe. Your belief will take you. You go and see some of the actors. If you've ever been to LA or New York, you see how many beautiful people. You go like, where did these beautiful people all came to? But not all of them make it, And the one that makes it is not necessarily the most beautiful, but the one that has the faith more. Now, what is faith? Self-belief, right? Self-belief is born out of self-discovery. But in order to discover you, venture, daring to try something, risking. Now, if I talk about the people I've known, that over the years, they probably, sad to say, they probably didn't accomplish much. You know why? They didn't venture out. They defended an idea. If I ask you, Anba, what you are good at, have you discovered? Have you discovered? I think I'll quote Einstein. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm not the most talented guy around. But I'm the one guy who will stick to the problem longest. That I know about me. That it doesn't matter. And that discovery is the faith I have. That is the faith that conquers all. So as a young person, if you're young, explore, find out, don't be prejudiced. Have faith in discovery. And when you discover, be honest to it. Now, you understand this, huh? I talk about Sarinda a little bit. I want to mention her. I remember she was modeling. She was a gorgeous girl. When I looked at her and I said, go, or something like that, go to Hollywood. Her mother was an actress before. So I said, go. This is, 20 years ago, 18 years. What was that? Me discovering her and showing back to her, come on, darling, go do this. It's not easy to survive in Hollywood, but she has it. That is what I'm banking on. You get what I'm saying? See, a lot of people, what happened when they lose faith is, when it's a false idea, at the end they discover they are not that, they get crushed, So we have to use this word faith very carefully. Yes, for this lady, she used Jesus to discover something. Some people have a spiritual insight or something. But I'm saying the principle of faith, me and I'm destined to be this. You see, the deeper part of the faith is I know. The deeper part of the faith is I know. Nobody has to know. I know.
But how do you come to that conviction?
I'm not sure. Sincerity, I suppose. Honesty, I suppose.
Prayer?
Of course. You must always have something more than you holding you. Of course, prayer. But the principle is this. I don't want to give you a formula. I want to invite you into a journey. How did you know you could do this? How did you know?
I didn't.
Then you discovered. How did she know, Anba? She grew up around us. How did she know? I never even imagined that you will sit there and interview me or direct me. This is something you discover. But now, you have to be very careful. If you have an idea, I want to be that, you might betray this. You see, a lot of us have an idea. I wish I was the cool, gentle, soft. I don't know what I
No, you don't.
Yeah, no, I don't. But maybe at some point I wished. I think when I met your mother, I wanted to be that guy. I'm not. I'm just this. And I had to accept that. So many times, in order to cheat oneself, we go on the path of pretension, Pretending sincerely is not faith. Then it's the Billie Jean story. Then you think you can sing, your audience are idiots. Then you live a deluded life. Faith is discover you. Like if you take your mother, if you take Shalini, did they know what they could do? No, they discovered it. Did they know? They discovered it. If you ask Shalini what she wants to be a singer with asthma.
Who's Shani?
Naranjana, she's my financial controller. She runs
Family.
She's family. She's family. She's part of the family. She's part of me for the last 20 years, and she's my family. Yeah. You ask Naranjana, her another name is Naranjana, Shalini. She said, I want to be a singer. I've seen her, trying to take singing classes. I'm like, go for it, darling. But with asthma? No. I haven't heard her sing. Maybe once or twice, a little bit. But that's her hallucination of the person I want to be. You get what I'm saying? Let me put this point across. Like somebody walking around want to be a rap artist. I sometimes think you should do rapping. You might be an artist in that. No, I'm kidding. You see, I know it looks like I'm attacking. You say, why not? I am also saying, why not? But by pursuing that, you might miss you.
But by pursuing that, how would you not know that you can or cannot do that? Don't you have to give it a try?
Yeah, but you have to give it a try, not be deluded by it. Like this test of Paul's PAT, the personality assessment. You know why I'm so excited about that test? It's a personality test. It removes some delusion. If somebody has certain quality low, not that you cannot do, it will be difficult. Not everybody can be Marilyn Monroe. Do you know how many people died trying?
She died trying.
But she's Marilyn Monroe. Look at her now. We talk about it. Like, how many people wanted to be Princess Diana? Again, I know I'm coming out wrong here, Am I saying you shouldn't pursue your dream? If it's your dream, not your hallucination. You see, this world feeds off our delusion, Sometimes I tell somebody, I know it's wrong. He's been trying. I say, why don't you not try business? Why don't you be part of a business? Why don't you get into a partnership? Why don't you join with someone? So faith is sight. How do I get sight? I try. You see, I don't want to be responsible of sending someone in the name of faith to go search something and 20 years later they wake up busted. I don't want to be responsible for that. I'd rather be a bit cautious. But I also caution you, if you don't try, you don't know. But I stick to this. What is it about you have you discovered?
Before we wrap up, I want to ask you about the people who, faith is a word associated with religion. And there are a lot of people who are very, very religious and feel like they are living by faith. Which, yes, of course, some people, religion works, right? If you've seen all those people who they're religious, but they're the most loveliest, kindest people. But then you see other people who are living by faith, but they're judgmental, they're violent, they put their beliefs onto you. What do you think about that?
You see, our inability to be alone, our inability to live within our discovery will always have a demand that we have something more to believe. So does the world need religion? Humanity needs it. You need to believe. Somebody dies, you have to believe they are going to a better place. I understand that necessity of that gap. I'm not propagating it. I'm not religious. So I'm saying that, yeah, people need to believe. I used to know this old lady, she will walk around with a cross. And I looked at her and I said, I'm so glad you have the cross. Whether it's real or not, I'm not going to go into that debate. She has something, and even she died holding the cross. I'm saying at least there was something she was holding on to. It's a need, right? Now, whenever it starts failing for them, that's when they become prejudiced. If you really believe in God, you believe in God. Whenever that doubt enters, in order to hold on to it, people get prejudiced, violent. That's when faith goes wrong. Faith can kill another person because they want to defend. They are very afraid. If not, I will not kill you if I point out and say there's a mountain and you say, no, it's not. I'm like, it's a mountain. You can't.
Because your belief is unwavering.
Unwavering. So when that mechanism fails, that's when people fall apart. You know? So if you ask about, am I for religion? Yeah, there's a definite need.
But faith through religion?
I don't want to enter that discussion.
Okay.
That is dangerous. Because you know why? You know why I'm saying this? I want to be very respectful. If you need to believe that, go ahead, believe. You have the need, not that I do.
And they can happily think you're wrong, and that's their...
That's perfectly right. Yeah, faith. That's perfectly fine. So I don't want to go to war with that. Everybody has a need. Now, I've seen men look at a woman and say, she's everything to me. And I'm going like, okay, I might not agree, but I won't tell him. But good for you. If it makes your life move on, I'm all for it, right? But what is your question? Is your question?
I'm just curious about faith through religion.
I think when you cannot discover you directly, you need a means.
But you would say faith is always a means to knowing you.
Yep. Know thyself, knowing me. When you know you, a faith,
But there's no moment where, okay, I know me, finish.
No, but you are saying it. In the Zen, they call it Satori. When you know you, you begin, It's a journey. It's not like, I know me. Of course, you're going to go into moments of doubt. Of course, you're going to go into places and say, what am I doing this right? What's going on? But you are in faith. But hear this, I'll give you a formula. When your faith is absolute, the reality is absolute. You attract it. I like the statement of Jesus from the Bible. No? He who have faith in the size of a mustard seed, command the mountain to enter the ocean, he said. So when you discover you, and your discovery is unwavering, you will provoke the reality. I know there's a lot of talk about manifestation of their law of attraction. A lot of it are noise, there's no substance to it. But the day you know you, you're going to attract the reality. I tell you, Van Gogh, it's a good story, He saw the world. I paint. I wish I could see the world. I can't see the world the way Van Gogh saw it. I cannot see. He saw it. He had faith. He banked on it. He had a mental illness too. He had faith. He banked on it, In his lifetime, he sold one painting. One. His brother supported him. But today, it's worth hundreds of millions.
But he never got to see that.
That's tragedy. That's other circumstance. But I know. You didn't get to see it.
So does it
I
even matter?
know. It's a bit sad. It's a bit sad, It's a bit sad. But that's not the point. He was true to his faith. Till the last he painted it. Now and forever time, we will mention his name. Van Gogh. So now hear this, sir. Faith is about self-discover. When you discover you and you survive the trial and tribulation, you will create the reality. Lao Tzu said this, to the mind that is silent, the universe surrenders. Lao Tzu said this. When does the mind get silent? When there is faith. When there is faith is when you know you. So use every opportunity to get to know you. Don't force you. Allow everything to reveal who you are. When you are revealed, you have faith. When you have faith, you conquer all. I will say the same statement. You will attract. You see, whenever you meet somebody, they are looking at you to see how you look at you, They are asking you, tell me how I should see you, how I should treat you. So they're actually looking at you, knowing you. Like if I go to a salesman and I want to buy, I don't know what I want to buy, a vacuum cleaner or something, not that I do that, but When he's explaining, I am not an engineer to know. I'm looking at him whether he knows what he's talking about, isn't it? I am going to purchase based on his faith on what he's saying. So you don't go to the world and ask who you are. You go to the world and reveal who you are. And in order to reveal who you are, you have to know you. When you know you, there is faith. And when there is faith, you conquer all. So maybe this is what I leave the audience, my God. I hope I've not misrepresented. I'm very careful.
Before you wrap it up, though, one more thing. What about fear? What if you want it so badly, but then you're so scared you're not going to get it?
Fear tells you it's precious. Fear tells you you are that precious. I tell a story, yeah? You got time?
Yeah.
Your sister one night shoved a bead up her nose.
I remember.
And the whole night we were holding her and we couldn't take it out. And I consider myself relatively brave, at least I think. The next day when I took her to the doctor and he made her sit on my lap and I had to hold her and he put a probe and pull it out. He said, this is very dangerous because if it goes in, it can choke her, right? I didn't know that night. But that moment when I was holding your sister, I've never been that scared in my life. When he pulled it out, I literally threw your sister aside and hugged the doctor. He pulled the thing out. When it came out, I threw her to the side. I hugged the doctor. He was a Malay gentleman. I had tears in my eyes and I was thinking, like, what is that? It tells me how precious it is. So fear is a good thing. Fear is a wonderful thing. Don't reject it. It tells you how precious it is. How precious something is. Like when your mother we were taking to the hospital, what did you tell me? Oh my God, I wish we all just die. COVID. Remember we were sending her and you were in the car, we were driving, said, if anything happens to her, we just die. I was looking at her and saying, and that is fear. But don't look at it as something shameful. Look at it as a confession how precious it is. So now, when you discover you have faith and you are going and you're scared. You're going for that audition and you're scared. You're launching that business, you are scared. Confess, oh my God, I didn't know this was this precious to me. You give me a Van Gogh painting and ask me to carry home, I will be shit scared. But that fear tells me why something really means something to you. You see, we live in a world and we're all supposed to be this non-fearful and no. Fear is the most beautiful thing. When your mother was giving birth to you, I think I had 3 cigarettes lighted at the same time sitting outside. 3 cigarettes. I'm sitting there and I thought I was brave. No, I'm not brave. I love my fear. My fear tells me something is precious. And how often do we discover something that precious? I wrap it up this way to the world that is listening to this. Just take this. I'm not being very clinical. I'm not being very scholastic, which I like to be. I'm just blasting out. I give you this. Faith is not false belief. Faith is a discovery. And in order to discover you, risk. In order to discover you, risk. Try. But let it feed back to you. Maybe this is not for you. Maybe this is for you. The ultimate faith is, I will risk everything to it. Van Gogh is a good story. He never became famous. He sold one painting. He died pretty miserably. But he lived his faith. You understand? And I say, in relationship, in work, in life, faith is everything. And faith is self-discovery. Okay? Use this as a means to think it through. Use it to explore. If you like, I feel like I've not done justice. If you have questions, you send it in to her. And maybe we'll do a second part to this. Right? Thank you.